Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm drawing my OC Willow, the main character of one of the stories I'm working on, called The Witch Academy. It's a working title. This is a story I discussed in a previous video where I drew Livia, one of the other characters from the story. I'll link that video in the description if you haven't seen it and are interested, though it's not necessary to watch before this one. But after I made that video, I asked you guys if you'd be interested in knowing more about the story, and most of you said yes. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the story, who Willow is as a character, and of course the drawing process of this illustration. So let's start with that, shall we? When thinking about what I wanted to do for the concept and pose, I kept coming back to this idea. A close-up of Willow waving her wand with magic and half of her face being covered mysteriously by her giant witch hat, she has her cat, and is in a room like she's at school. I liked this idea, but I wasn't sure if it would look as good on paper as it did in my imagination, but I decided to give it a try anyway, and amazingly, it ended up pretty much like I imagined. Not without some hiccups along the way, however, particularly with the cat. Speaking of which, meet Willow's cat, Eclipse. For someone who has included cats in multiple of my drawings at this point, you'd think I'd be better at drawing them. I think part of the reason is that I haven't quite decided what cats look like in my style, so every time I draw them it's a little bit different. I had a couple of scrapped passes, but eventually got Eclipse to look pretty good. The main issue I had was trying to figure out her head shape. I've drawn cat side profiles before, so I'm not sure why I was suddenly having an issue with it. I also wasn't sure how big to make her. For some reason, close up, I have a hard time judging proportions, so I made Willow smaller on my canvas and judged based off of that before making the sketch full size. So you can let me know if she looks like a really big cat or a really small cat, because I still can't really tell. I then gave Eclipse her collar and a kitty eyelash flick, and in the end, she turned out real cute, so it was worth the trouble. Speaking of eyelashes, I've been enjoying giving my characters thicker, more extravagant, luscious lashes. I think it looks cool and pretty, and it gives character as each person gets a different lash line, and I think it helps define the eyes. So I gave Willow some fluffy lashes that curve down towards her eye to show that her eyes are half closed. But now, in order to talk about the rest of Willow's design, I must first tell you about how I designed her. Back to the beginning. So I was once thinking about different Halloween monster type characters. I don't really know what you'd call them. And what if there was like a group of the different species and they were like friends kind of thing? Just a random fun hypothetical so that I could design some characters, which is my favorite thing, by the way, if you haven't noticed. So we got a vampire, werewolf, mermaid, alien, and of course a witch. And I like the idea and characters so much that I decided to make it into a story. Now the story has changed a decent amount, but these initial characters are pretty much the same. And if you want to know more about them, let me know, and I can do that in a future video. One thing I really wanted to do when designing this group of characters was to try and make them more diverse, I guess you could say. I have certain design elements that I tend to gravitate towards, often just characteristics that I personally like. For example, I would always give my female characters longer hair. I like the style options there are for long hair, but even so, that gets boring after a while, so I've been trying to mix it up. So my original idea for Willow included short hair. I already knew I wanted her main color to be purple. Maybe because I love the color, or maybe because purple is a very witchy, Halloween-y color. Either way, she is now a part of my ever-growing group of purple-themed main characters. I don't know how this always happens. Anyways, I had originally intended Willow, who at the time I was gonna call Luna, to have a lighter skin tone and short brown and purple hair. She probably would have also had a different vibe and personality, which I liked, but I already knew I wanted one of the other characters to have short hair. And even though they both could have had short hair, it just kind of made me realize that her design was a bit boring. I knew I could do better and make her look even more different. I didn't really have a darker skin character in the group, and when I realized that, I had a light bulb moment. Purple goes amazingly with dark skin tones, and I've been dying to give a character this braided hairstyle. I haven't used it yet because it's a pain to draw, but it fits Willow's vibe perfectly. I also later realized, after I had changed her name to Willow, that her hair kind of looks like a willow tree, which I love for her. Though the reason I changed her name was actually because after deciding I was going to make this into a story, I thought the name Luna, whereas very witchy, would possibly be better suited for a werewolf, cause you know, the whole moon thing. Though I did end up giving the name to a character who starts out as a witch but gets turned into a werewolf. Spoilers! So I'm really happy with Willow's new design. She's beautiful and I love her. I do feel like her design is lacking in accent color though, but I'll figure that out later. Keep in mind she's still a pretty new character, so I haven't figured out everything yet. And things are bound to change. Like her outfit. All of the witches at school have two main outfits, a school uniform, which is more like a dress code than a uniform, so that the characters can have more individuality with their outfits, and uniforms are boring, and a more witchy outfit. That is the outfit that I'm drawing Willow in today. I tried to base it off the more modern witch attire that you'd see for Halloween, since the story does take place in modern day, and the Halloween vibe is what I'm going for. I also incorporated some spider webs into her design for more of that Halloween look, but I might change that later. Overall, I like her outfit, the design needs work, but it's to start. I have the witches' eye colors match their magic color, and their eyes glow when they use their magic. And for some of them who have an unnatural color, like Willow, their eye color changes to match their magic color when they come of magic using age, which is basically puberty but for magic people. So they don't know if they have magic until this point. Some people get their magic younger, and some get it when they're older. I gave Willow the same eye design that I gave Raven, where I make their pupils smaller and not black. I think it makes them look more whimsical, but I don't know if I'm going to keep it for the final character designs. They might end up looking too different from the rest of the characters. But I also like it because the eyes are pretty important and unique to each of the different species. Some witches also have their hair color changed to match their magic. Wow, that's kind of a tongue twister. For some this doesn't happen at all, for some it's just a piece of their hair, for some it's all of their hair. For Willow, most of her hair is purple except for the roots. Also, for clarification, there are witches and wizards, but I've just been saying witches because that's easier. I'll specify if I mean one in particular. Overview of what I got through the story right now, it would start with Willow as a normal human in her second year of high school. She doesn't even know that she's a witch, until she gets her magic. Remember the whole coming of age thing? Well, most witches get their magic before high school, but Willow is a little bit late to the party and just got hers. One or both of her parents know about magic because someone in her family had it or something like that. I haven't exactly decided who. My original thought was that it was her grandma, but I don't know. And she was told stories about witches and didn't believe them. Witches are rare, so most people don't believe that they're real. But her family knew it was a possibility for Willow to be a witch. So when she got her magic, they sent her off to the Academy of the Mystic Arts, is what I'm calling it. Willow is academic and a bit of an overachiever, but magic is totally new to her. She gets thrust into a new school with new subjects, a grade into high school. She feels like she doesn't fit in there, but eventually makes friends and whatnot. A little later, after our main cast is introduced, we start to meet the other species, and that's when the real drama starts to happen. The different species and characters each have their reasons for coming into the story, but a problem that consistently gets brought up is whether or not to trust them or let them come to the school. And they're not wrong for being concerned. Werewolves, vampires, and sirens have all been known to be killers. But Willow is one of the people who will often befriend the good ones and defend them. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more about this story, let me know by liking the video and subscribe if you want to be the first to know when it happens. Okay, so now for some random one-off facts about the story. Willow is the main character because in the original idea, she was basically the leader of the group. And even though the story has changed, she's still got that main character energy. The others are still important to the story, but now the main cast consists of Willow and two of her fellow students and friends. Raven, who is also a one-off witch character I made, and Teal, which was a placeholder name for him, but now I'm kind of attached to it. Everyone at the academy gets a black cat. It is mandatory if you are allergic to cats, too bad! Black cats have a close connection to magic and also serve as a companion to each student. They pick their cats as kittens their first year at school. Eclipse is an adult in this drawing because Willow is older, probably a senior in high school. Some of you may remember that in the video where I draw Raven, I said that I didn't give her a wand because I didn't want her to be restricted to only being able to use magic with a wand. And she just looked cooler without one. This is still canon. Witches don't have to have magical objects to use their magic. However, it can amplify or help them focus it. In this drawing, I gave Willow white hands. I've had this idea to have a character from one of my stories with magic have some sort of magic accident. Like, they try to cast a spell that's too powerful for them and it, like, burns their hands. But in a magic kind of way. Either because they were too ambitious or they were trying to save their friends or something like that. For character development. And I thought it would be cool if it was to happen to Willow, but I might end up changing it. I also ended up adding some hand tattoos. I think it could make for an interesting design element if the witches have some magical related tattoos. But again, I might change that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Okay, love you, bye!